And just like that, as I predicted, we are getting more stuff released to us from the Netflix adaptation of Avatar The Last Airbender. This time around, it is around the character of Sokka, which is potent because we are going to talk about a few things today with regards to this character. The first one is going to be around the new reveal of a couple of new scenes that Avatar posted on their socials, and then also we are going to speak to a bit of a controversy, if you want to call it that I have to give my full opinion on that I have yet to do, and I'll be curious to see how you all feel about that, and I just hope it goes well because it's going to be something very interesting to discuss from many different points of view. My fellow benders of all four nations, welcome to Uncle Iroh's Tea Shop of the Jasmine Dragon. Find yourself a seat, grab some jasmine tea, and enjoy the video. Like with my most recent videos, let's see if we can hit a goal of 100 likes on this one this time around. First and foremost, I actually want to say and give a heartfelt thank you to all of you who have supported me in the last however many days for this channel. We hit 1,000 subscribers last night after my most recent video went up from yesterday. The amount of joy and happiness that consumed me after seeing that was insane, and I cannot thank you all enough because you helped me get to this point. This now makes it the third channel that I've hit this goal on in the last 3 years, and it just happens to be the quickest that I've done it. I'm hoping that we can continue on with this growth, and it helps lead into the show when it does release next month. So again, thank you so much. Speaking of which, I did upload another video earlier speaking to the notion of Netflix with regards to how they are going to release the show, so definitely go and check that video out as well when you have the chance. Alright, so let's get into the main meat of the video. We are going to discuss the new reveal that we just got around the character of Sokka. In the last couple of days, they did the same thing with regards to Aang and Katara, and now we get to see what it's like for our boy. So this new clip opens up with him having a conversation with none other than the Mechanist, a character who, by the way, is now being revealed for the first time as well in footage form because we've only seen him in a picture. He tells Sokka that it's not always easy to find your path in life, but that when he does find it, he must embrace it. And this right here, I have to tell you, I love that line. There's just something about Avatar as an IP that just leaves you with so much wisdom that you can take from it in terms of all the lines of dialogues that come from it. Now, of course, everyone here knows that this particular episode is going to follow the characters of the Mechanist and his son Teo, who are refugees from the Northern Air Temple episode in Book 1 at the very end of when that season was coming to a close. Those particular words, I think, are an addition to the show because they are not said in the original. Now, we have some idea as to the notion that that particular episode from the original cartoon is not fully going to be adapted. It seems like the characters in that episode will be adapted, but the actual Northern Air Temple itself won't be, as it seems like they are actually going to be intertwining them in the Omashu arc. You can see that they are talking inside of a room that looks very familiar to what you might have seen in the Northern Air Temple episode, but also you'll notice very keenly on the right, next to Sokka's head, is a handcrafted balloon. The very balloon that you do see in the Northern Air Temple episode that the Mechanist described as an old experiment that was then actually turned into a real thing during the episode where the Fire Nation attacked and they used it to fend them off. So either that means they are going to use that war balloon in this episode, or it could just be there for the decoration as like an Easter egg or something. To speak on the Mechanist himself real quickly, just with a few words that he says, he doesn't so far seem to have that particular voice that the cartoon version had, and so I wonder if they are going to go down the route of making him sound a little bit more weirder than he is in the cartoon. I'm not too familiar with the actor who is playing him, but apparently he is well known in the comedic space of film and television, so I'll just have to wait and see how he gives his interpretation of that character. We also get a new shot of an extended look as to one of the first ever looks that we got of the character of Sokka, where it looks like he is standing outside of a door to the Southern Water Tribe. You can clearly tell by looking behind him, as you can see people standing right behind it. This looks like a new and different interpretation of the scene in which he is ready for Zuko's Fire Nation ship to show up. He doesn't have the spear, but he does have his club and his boomerang on hand. He's also not wearing his war makeup either in this shot, so there are a few differences to what this version looks like as opposed to the cartoon. Same thing goes with that door there that's behind him. It's not an actual door that the Southern Water Tribe had in the cartoon, so there is a bit of a change to the layout of what this village looks like. The rest of the clip is just another look at a scene that we already saw from the trailer where he's telling Aang that he's got him and Katara and a flying ball of fur who is Appa to protect him, and that he doesn't need anything else as Momo flies in on his head. Overall, I would say out of the 3 revealed clips that we have have gotten so far for these characters in the last few days, this is the one that I find the least to be broken down as far as what we've seen already, but again, with every new thing that we do get, I am just eager to see more and more. So that's going to do it for this section of the video. Let me know your thoughts on this new reveal clip in the comments. I imagine that tomorrow, if they follow the same trajectory of what they've been doing, we are probably going to get a Zuko 20-second clip or so, and so I'll definitely be there to cover it, so be on the lookout for that video. And with that being said, we are now going to transition over to the juiciest part of the video, and at least I think it will be. I am holding out hope that everyone here is able to speak to this particular, quote, controversy, if you want to call it that, with an open-minded look, whether we agree or disagree on how I interpret it. So, obviously, the other day, Entertainment Weekly dropped a new promotion for the Netflix adaptation, and along with that was a video with the cast talking about their experience in making it. They talked about how the character of Sokka was going to be toned down a little bit from the point of view of some of his sexist remarks. Remarks, I might add, are very few in number. This sent some of the internet into a stir, and I'm here to give my view on it from a more open-minded perspective as somebody who tends to think that way through their thought process and their mindset. So, when I first read that portion of the article, I honestly kind of just breezed past it, and I didn't really think much of it as a huge importance. Seemingly, though, it seems like other people think otherwise, and that it is the one thing from the entire article that everybody is posting about as opposed to all the other cool and interesting stuff that it does speak to. I've already seen a bunch of people making their YouTube videos about it in grift-like ways where you've got your overly ridiculous thumbnail and title, and for me, I was just not going to be one of those people that did that because, for one, I am very opposed to the whole grift mindset, and I think it makes people come off as fake and only in it for the money when talking about certain topics. There are people who will make videos or tweet about this who know nothing about Avatar as well. I've had so many copycat channels recommended to my feed to the point where it's honestly doesn't even matter how many times I've hit the don't recommend or not interested button, which, by the way, YouTube, can you please uphold to that system? Every time I say don't recommend or I'm not interested in a channel, you still recommend me other channels like them that I don't care for or have never watched. That's just a tangent for another time, but I digress. In terms of getting into the meat of how I feel about this, to tell you all the truth, I honestly don't care all that much about it, but I do also understand where each person can come from either side, depending on how they look at it. You are really not going to please anybody if it was included a whole lot or if it was toned down in the show. To me, I find that the importance of a character like Sokka does not come from these few remarks that he makes, but the more overarching journey that his character has through his arc in all 3 books. There are so many other qualities and characteristics and points of development to his character that I would much rather they uphold than, again, these few remarks that he makes towards women in the original cartoon. I care a lot more for his journey as a warrior who is trying to impress his father and live up to him. I care more for his journey as the comedic guy of the group who always brings levity to it when it's needed, and I also care for his journey as a non-bender in the group. To me, that is so much more important to who he is than if they would have just toned down these few remarks, which, by the way, people are thinking that the phrase toned down means that they are removing it. That's just not what that means. Toned down just means that they are minimizing it a little bit. For all we know, there is still some of that in the show, but just not as extensive. To that point, we already know that he's going to be getting the Kyoshi warrior treatment in terms of training. In the original, you know that he makes a remark to Suki, and because of that remark, she gets to train him in her ways. For all we know, he does still say something to her in the Netflix version, which is why we do see the new image that was released the other day of her training him, so clearly something was done or said to get them to that point. Again, I look at this from the point of view as somebody who is not going to lose sleep over it and not go into the show wanting to boycott it or say that it's going to be garbage, because to me, that's just not a healthy way to do it, and at that point, I feel like I would be setting myself up for failure when judging what the show is. I care way more for everything else that Sokka does in his journey. If they remove his humor from the show, the stuff around him being a warrior and living up to his father, or even the stuff that has to do with him becoming a swordsman because of him being a non-bender, I feel you are doing an even bigger disservice there. That, to me, is what would make Sokka not Sokka. That swordsman stuff that he goes through with the Swordmaster in Book 3 is so immensely important to who his character is. These few remarks that he makes are just not that big of a deal in my personal opinion, and they don't represent his entire character arc. Maybe they represent a mild portion of it, but not the whole thing. Again, my goal here is to just bring a point of view to this that maybe can turn some heads and make people think a little differently on where this could go. Maybe Sokka doesn't have to completely look at things through a sexist way, but more of a just pure way of arrogance. Everybody has their own arrogant qualities to them, and I imagine he still will uphold some of those, even if maybe not at all to the point where some of it has to be sexism related. Again, I just want to make it clear, toned down does not mean completely removed. We still have yet to see the full context of everything in the show, so let's just wait until it releases. There's no point in calling the show garbage when you haven't seen a full episode yet, and again, I feel like you would set yourself up for failure if you were trying to go in to just hate it. For me, it's always about going in with an open-minded headspace. Believe me when I say this, it has helped me greatly when watching film and television or playing a video game, for example. I don't let people who say things like this influence how I view entertainment. The show looks awesome so far, even if I still have a few hesitancies on it, and I'm not going to let these quotes push me away. I understand that the show is going to eventually make a few changes, and we already know it's going to do that. Again, I spoke to this the other day in my other video where I said that they were going to be doing the Last of Us adaptation style thing, where they're going to be doing certain different things with certain characters. And so if this is just one of the things that we should expect to see, then again, I just need to see it in context first, and then I will go from there and let you all my true honest feelings about it. So yeah, I hope that we can all come to some understanding with each other again, whether we agree or disagree. I do want to shout out somebody in my community tab who suggested this through their dialogue, and that is Israel Lorena. I hope I'm saying your name right if you are watching this video. So I now want to get to a point where I want to see all your comments down below with regards to everything we talked about in this video today, not even just the things that we just discussed here at the end. Let me know how you feel about the new reveal and also my commentary with regards to the recent thing that came about. I'm really hoping it can just blow over and everybody can focus up again on everything else that comes out with regards to promotion in the coming weeks. If you did enjoy my video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and turn on that notification bell for anything that I post in the future with regards to the Netflix show. On your way out of Uncle Iroh's tea shop, be sure to let him know how much you enjoy his jasmine tea and his words of wisdom that come with it. I hope everyone here has a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you all soon for more Avatar.